Hi all, Andy here and welcome back to the channel, where today I'm talking all about the replacement of the batteries in the Audi TT Mk1. You will notice I've got two examples parked right here, and believe it or not, for battery replacement they're both parked the right way. That's right, because the batteries are in different ends of the cars on these two examples. If you've got a 150, a 180 or a 225 brake horsepower 1.8 turbo engine, you'll like to find your battery in the front, like my Roadster. Here is the 1.8 turbo engine, and you'll notice this plastic tray here, and this is where your battery is located. If I just lift that up, you'll see it's just under there. But if you own a 3.2 V6 like my blue coupe, or a 240 brake horsepower Quattro Sport, you'll actually find the battery in the back end of the car, in the boot. Now, if we look at the 3.2 V6, it too has this battery tray right here, but the difference is on this one, there's an empty void for the battery. So when I first went to find the battery in this car, I found that void. It was a bit alarming, but I realised the battery was there somewhere, so I went investigating.
No sign of the battery under the engine bay, so time to get the boot or trunk lid open and look under the floor. Lift the floor using this handle and remove the spindle from the underfloor plastic housing.
Remove the spindle, just put that to one side, and there we have the V6 battery. Now it differs from the battery in the 1.8 turbo in that it has this black pipe, and that's used to vent the battery to the outside world, because don't forget you are sharing this battery with the cabin, so it needs to be vented. The battery itself is secured to the car by that 10mm nut down there. But first off, we'll remove the connections to the battery, starting with the negative terminal first.
With a 10mm socket, loosen the negative terminal, the black wire, and tuck the cable away from the battery. Next, pull the vent pipe away from the battery. It should come away easily as it just plugs into a small hole on the side. Now take the 10mm socket once more and loosen the positive terminal cable bolt and remove it from the battery. The battery is now totally disconnected from the electrics. To remove the battery from the car, you need to remove this cleat from the corner just here. It is held in place by a 10mm nut that goes over a particularly long thread, so you will need a deep socket of 10mm to get this over and get it removed. Due to its recessed location, you'll also need an extension bar on your ratchet. Extend the carrying handle, slide the battery towards the back of the car ever so slightly to clear the securing lip at the front and lift it out. Be aware it is extremely heavy. If you are looking for a replacement battery for your 3.2 V6, a quick Google will bring up a Bosch S4008. It has 74 amp hours and 680 amps. I tend to go for the next one up for the extra money to ensure it does the job. That is the Bosch S5008 with 77 amp hours and 780 amps.
The issue you've got if you're doing this job in the V6 coupe over the 1.8 turbo cars with the battery being in the back is if you've lost total power to the battery, you've got no way to open the boot. However, all is not lost, because there is an emergency pull cord inside the car that will release the boot, and I'm going to show you that now. Everyone talks about the cup holder, the famous cup holder in this car. Well, as you can see, at the bottom of that cup holder is a bolt here and a bolt here. You undo these bolts, remove this cup holder, including this plastic panel here, and the emergency boot release is sitting underneath.
You just need a flathead screwdriver to remove these two bolts.
With the two screws undone, remove the cup holder, or it's just the plastic panel if you haven't got a cup holder, and you'll see this orange loop just down here. It's that orange loop there you need to pull to release the boot. So if we do that, I've pulled that and I heard the pop, So now the boot is open.
That emergency boot release is in a different place if you have a Roadster. It's not such an issue if you own a 1.8T, but it is if your battery is in the boot of your 3.2 Roadster. There is a lockable compartment behind the driver's seat. Inside that compartment is this black lever. Simply pull this lever and the boot will pop open without the need for any electrics. I'm not sure why they did not put this handy little handle somewhere in the coupes also, as it's a bit of a faff to access that orange loop. Before you fit a new battery, inspect the boot space and clean out any dirt. Ensure there is no water ingress and also give the terminals a good clean if there's any sign of corrosion. Refitting is essentially a reversal of removal. Ensure the battery is slid forward so it slides under this retaining lip once more. Replace the battery cleat and secure it down with a 10mm nut. Reattach the battery vent pipe. Reattach the positive cable on the car to the positive terminal on the battery, and reattach the negative cable to the negative terminal on the battery, and you're all done. So that's how to deal with the 3.2 V6, but what about those turbo cars? Here we are under the bonnet of the 1.8T, and we are going to start with removing the top of the battery cover. It should be held in place by 3 plastic M8 screws which have a Phillips head fitment, although my car is down to 2. Once the screws are removed, lift it out of the way. Underneath you will see the fuse carrier and the mounting plate that it sits on. Unclip this from the mounting plate by lifting it forwards towards the rear and unhook the fastenings at the front. I fold the fuse carrier out of the way by hooking it under the engine cover. Then lift the mounting plate forward and unhook it from the rear of the battery surround. Mine is broken on one side so it came off really easy. Next up we are going to remove the negative cable from the terminals and follow the same order as with the 3.2. You can identify which terminal is which easily by the minus and plus symbols on the battery. Minus for negative obviously. It's not as easy to identify as on the 3.2 as both cables on this car are black, but it's positive on your left and negative to the right as you look at the car from the front. Again, this is a 10mm socket to remove. Repeat the process with the positive cable, again using the 10mm socket. Now the battery cleat is at the front edge of the battery on the 1.8 turbo, and the nut securing it is a 13mm one, and again you will need an extension bar to loosen and remove the cleat. With the battery all disconnected, you can now lift it from the car. As you can see, I have the Bosch S4005 battery in my 225 and it outputs 60 amp hours and 540 amps, all ample to power the car. Reassembly is simply a reverse of what you have just done.
So hopefully that simple tutorial will help you find your battery and replace it at home without going to the garage and paying their extortionate rates. If you like what you've seen today in this video, then please do give it a thumbs up, and also think about subscribing to my channel if you've not already done so, where you'll find a whole host of content on the Audi TT Mk1. As always, thanks for watching and see you soon. Take care.